Good evening, Accelerate Athletes. Coach Oldham here with Coach King and Coach Mauser. Glad to have you on the episode, Coach Mauser. This is our third one. Coach King and I have enjoyed it a ton lately, just talking about, first of all, our passion, which is strength, exercise, athletes, all about that. So thank you for getting on with us. Coach King, I want to turn it over to you and kind of see how you're doing. I know it's not been that long since we recorded on Monday, but how are things going on your end?
Things are good, man. Weather was great outside. I actually doing a ton of kettlebell work still, which I've really been loving. And I actually got outside and ran some sprints up and down the driveway over the past couple of days, which has been a while since I've gone out and kind of gone full bore with some sprints, but felt really good to get out there, test how the old speed's doing. Definitely trying to be creative around the house, getting these workouts in, but feeling good. Everyone's healthy. Everyone's doing well.
Good. Great to hear that, man. Yeah. Let me know how your legs feel after those sprints. Coach Mauser, hey, how are you doing? I'm sure the kids have been wondering, whether it's at Wyoming, Waynesville, Williamsburg, all the places that you're helping us out at. Kind of give us an update on your status, and hopefully you're staying safe out there.
Yeah, like King said, today was a beautiful day, so I got to get outside. I didn't run any sprints. I just do small footwork drills. But I did get to carry 16 300-pound railroad ties, kind of use those as makeshift deadlift for a little bit.
Yeah.
That's what I'm kind of counting as my heavy lifting for today. After that, I'm done.
We all got to be a little bit creative out here. I was doing some tilling and planting some flowers, so I'll count that as my ab works as I kept twisting and tilling things. You know what I mean? So yeah, beautiful day today. Definitely have to take advantage of it. We went on a pretty long walk. Kristen wasn't down for some sprints. But maybe next time. Coach Mauser, thanks for coming on. Like I said before, for us, man, we wanted to kind of get, they've heard us talk enough. The Wyoming kids have. I know you have a relationship with some of them. Kind of let us know, how would you approach this quarantine scenario, and what things would you be telling, athletes, the things they could do at home to put on size?
For putting on size, that was my dog groaning because I moved. Just so we're clear. When it comes to putting on size, I know we got a lot of limited things. A lot of people have 300-pound railroad ties in their backyard, but you can take smaller things like your backpacks, fill them up with books, fill them up with gravel, whatever you can. And it's not going to equal out a lot of weight, I know. But the thing that I like to do is kind of starve out the muscle. So just I call it muscle recruitment. So let's say you're going to do front delts, right? So again, some raises in. Just hold that out, like 15 pounds. It doesn't take much. Hold it there for as long as you can. Once you can no longer hold it anymore, then get your reps in. You'll be so fatigued, so broken that the amount of muscle you're tearing during that few 10 reps that I'm sure is all you're going to get is going to be ridiculous. The next day you'll be sore. And right now, weight's limited. So the biggest thing is just start looking for the muscle tear. So spending as much time in the negative as you can, and doing as much as you can to increase how much is going to tear in that negative motion, which is the part where you're bringing the weight to rest, just so we're clear. I don't know if the other schools have really harped on that or not, but so for a bench press, pressing up, positive motion, coming back down on the bench press, that's the negative. The longer you spend in the negative, the more tear you get to your muscle, and that's the most important part when it comes to breaking it down. And then maintain your diet, eat properly, make sure you're getting protein, carbs. It's all fast twitch training, so you need carbs as a fuel source. And then that gets you the replenishment. Every time it breaks, you get new muscle cells, muscles get bigger. It's the easiest way you can do it right now.
Awesome, man. Talk to us a little bit about, and we kind of touched on it earlier before we started. What are some things that you would say, what are some don't do's, while you're at home? I see a ton of videos. You get all this stuff of, Instagram videos, Twitter videos. Well, what are some things that maybe, our athletes want to be on lookout for if don't do this?
Well, for one, safety. Be careful. All right. I saw a picture the other day of some people who used ladders to set up a bar to where they could do squats because they didn't have a squat rack. And they tried to balance this thing on a ladder. Obviously, don't do that. All right. Be smart. As far as like overall training, I would say don't do what everybody else is going to do and just keep training the same muscle groups. I know everybody's going to want to do lunges. Everybody's worried about doing push-ups, things like that. That's great. But I can speak for every single athlete I've seen, every school I've gone to, our weakest muscles are hamstrings, lower back, lower portion of your traps, calves, ankles. That is what we should be doing. What you don't want to do is avoid those, because they're everybody's least favorite things. They're things you don't look at, don't see in the mirror, so people avoid it. And don't worry about getting complex lifts. Don't worry about getting the big squats in and trying to get a bar up over your head and trying to go real heavy. It's just going to be dangerous to get it there. Break it down into just smaller motions, isolate each individual muscle, take the time to do it right. Don't rush anything. And the biggest thing is remember that everybody's an athlete in this situation. So we're going to be running a lot eventually. I'm not saying that you need to be doing cardio all day long, but you need to take care of your shins, because it's going to be awful with the first week back and we go to do 10 minutes of conditioning, and within 3 days, everybody's got shin splints. So please do stretches, heel walks, backwards, forward, sideways. Get a little bit of running in, 3 or 4 sprints every day, 50 yards. Doesn't have to be much, but just enough to keep those things from breaking down and getting weak. That's, I would say, is the biggest don't do's, is missing out on the things that we just do because we do them, not because we enjoy them.
Right.
I think we touched on that in one of our earlier videos, was that, this is an opportunity where, one, it's showing if you're working when no one else is looking, but along with that same line is that you're able to work on things without the judgment or the other sets of eyes on you. We all know how that can affect athletes day in and day out. So you mentioned some of the weak areas, and I think I can attest to the same thing as our hamstrings, our lower back. A lot of our pull-ups and things like that are not our strongest areas. For us, what are some exercises that you would say here, that you would want them to focus on? So let's start with hamstring. I mean, what's the number one exercise that you'd say for hamstring?
Hamstrings will be a little bit harder for everybody, just because you're not going to have an effective way to do like hamstring curls unless you got a good flex ball. But you can always do the glute bridge walkouts. I've taught them at Waynesville. I don't know if the other schools have learned them, but basically you just do a glute bridge, walk your heels out inch at a time, all the way out, keeping your butt up off the ground till your body's almost completely straight, and then 1 inch at a time, walking it back, keeping that tension and squeezing the hamstrings as hard as you can. Straight-legged deadlifts, which is the only thing I ever let anybody do, because hamstrings are the most important. So if they can find anything, it doesn't matter how hard the weight is, but put toes underneath your weights, which will help to shift that into the hamstrings a little bit more, since we're going to have to go lighter. I'm sure not everybody has heavy things lying around the house, but grab a sibling, just deadlift them for a little bit. It takes,
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I was going to say, kind of lower back wise, I think the straight leg deadlifts are going to be great there as well. For you and lower back, what do you recommend? It's different exercises we could do at home.
The straight-legged deadlifts will be great, a standard deadlift as well. When it comes to lower back, I like to do suspension work. So let's say you have a tree branch outside, work on bringing your body up. I know that bringing your feet up and trying to lay level, everybody thinks of core, but core includes hip flexors and lower back. So it's not a thing about getting abs. It is a thing about total strength of your entire core section. So if you can hop up, hold as parallel to the ground as you can, just hanging from a tree until it burns, then hop down. You got maybe a 20-pound rock, knock out some deadlifts with it really quick. You're going to really increase the amount of burn and effect that you're getting in your lower back. It's finding the right ways to fatigue the muscles, since we don't have a lot of equipment and things to go with. So just little things like that.
Awesome. What about, let's touch on a little bit, some upper body stuff and maybe some things that you found around the house, or things that hopefully a lot of people have. You touched on some good time under tension exercises. Let's touch on, some chest, some shoulder stuff, some lat stuff that you've seen effective at home.
So chest, I like to use a doorway, and it's a little difficult to demonstrate from the couch here, but get a good doorway and next to a wall or with something that you can put your feet on. Okay. And it's kind of a double whammy here. You get to work your legs and your chest, because you're going to lean into that wall. You're going to be basically angled like this.
Yeah.
Hands here, squatting all your leg strength into that wall as you slowly very slowly push that wall away, squeezing your chest as you go up. And since you're free and your hands are just in place and you're moving your body, it actually gives you the freedom to roll the elbows and squeeze and push that chest up as you go. And then slowly, using the resistance of your legs should be shaking. You should be pushing that wall so hard in that push that your legs then are getting to work in the negative motion. So you get to kind of kill two birds with one stone. So you don't do it on a day where I would say you're focusing on doing one over the other. Try to use them together in that case. I'm also pretty thrifty. So I would say grab a garden hose and wrap it around a tree branch. And you can pull that and do a fly, one-handed flies. You can do triceps with it. You can then grab up to, and just whatever you can tie to the other side. Sometimes they're a little bit elastic, so that's fine. You know, I'm sorry if I'm making parents mad, but then you can get the good lat pull from across the distance. And if you got bungees or anything like that, that's another thing, is you want to make sure that you can pull across the distance, get as much stretch as you can, since we don't have a lot of weight to impact the shorter motions. Pull-ups, of course, are one of my favorites, but just things like that. You can use the wall. It's a little bit trickier to try to pull yourself through. You got to kind of put one foot into the wall and then allow just that one leg to lunge in. Please alternate legs each time to where you're not uneven. My OCD.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen, you know, you want to get some good inverted rows in. Tabletops are perfect.
Yep.
Underneath the table, you can do them, you know, pull up grip, chin up grip. So those work really, really well.
Oh yeah. I just like using the doorways because I can use my feet to make it as resistant as possible on my back, and my legs are getting a little bit of work in the process.
Definitely. Well, what about, you touched on it a little bit earlier with nutrition, you know, you kind of mentioned it. What are some really good things you want to see our kids and our athletes hopefully learning how to cook, eat, and while we're in this quarantine? We have plenty of time now to maybe learn how to cook something better that we never did. And Matt and I, Coach O and I talked about it in one of the earlier podcasts. I'd love to see some of these kids sending out something where, hey, I've finally learned how to, you know, do something with a sweet potato or something, right? So what would you like to see, you know, our athletes learn how to cook, eat during this time, putting on size?
Just effective ways. I know a lot of kids I keep talking with, a lot of my athletes, they're like, oh, I just hate chicken. Find a way that you like chicken. That's probably my biggest thing. You know, if you need to cook it in a skillet, throw some zucchini, a little bit of squash in there, a little bit of like Szechuan soy sauce, whatever, something spicy, and just brown it real quick. Make it taste good. Find ways that you like chicken. Now is the time to do it. I understand, like, a lot of times the grocery stores are out of chicken right now, but it's when it comes back to normal and we can get all the chicken possible, this is the time for us to have the ways that we can actually eat it and enjoy it. And one of the things I've actually found kind of effective for people who don't like their chicken, they're like little ninja choppers, and it basically finely shreds the chicken almost till it's dust. Mix that into something with sauce or into rice and season your rice, and you don't even know the chicken's in it.
If you're not a big chicken fan, I'm not a big chicken fan, right? You know, I grew up liking beef. So, you know, we find ways. If you're not a big chicken fan, you know, turkey, I mean, if you're talking, is turkey okay? Are we talking fish? Is fish okay?
Oh, absolutely. Tilapia is always my go-to when it comes to fish, tuna, salmon. Salmon's a little bit higher in fat content, but not that much. Shrimp's great. When it comes to the athletes and the level of training that we're doing and what we're looking for, any of those things are a great option. I always point out the chicken because the chicken is needed by the males and the females pretty evenly. A lot of the females need to pull back on their red meat intake for most of the sports that we work with. The only ones who are going to benefit drastically from it are like the few females who play football and throwers. So, you know, you just kind of get the protein in that's going to help keep them lean, keep them full, keep them energetic. Things that go well with rice, a good healthy carbohydrate. I'm not talking about everybody start killing candy and sweets and snack foods all the time. That's my other thing. Is this right now is a good time for you to get your impulse controls under control on snacking, because I know we're all sitting around at home all day long, and when we're bored, we like to snack. I'm guilty of it. But, you know, it's a good time to try to practice that and get that under control. That way we have set diets, set times, set schedules. And that's that would be another really big thing on it, is everybody needs to start getting used to eating breakfast. Now's a good time. We're not as rushed in the mornings as we were, because we don't have to go to school. So take the time to wake up, find a breakfast meal that we like, something to get our metabolism going, get us fed, get us ready for our next meals, and get them evenly spaced. Build a routine. It should all, I always say that your routine should be built around your diet. I'm a big eater, but it's also true. Food is necessity. Food is not for indulgence. So right now is the perfect time to learn how to schedule and build our day around our meals. That way we can end up being the type of athlete, or at least having the health and body that we're looking to have in the future.
Completely agree with you
Yep.
on that one. I've always used it as your body is like a car, and when you feel the most hungry is when you're the most malnourished, and so that's that spike and that peak in your metabolism, and making sure that when you're at your low, you get yourself back up. The spikes I think is what kind of killed me when I was beginning to power lift, was understanding that, like, just because I was hungry, didn't mean that I was burning calories. What it meant is my body was telling me, you need to go eat something, or else we're not going to be able to go pull this deadlift. So I think when you talked about snacking, it brought back to me, like, I had to find ways to find things that I liked that were healthy to snack, whether it was apples right before I went to go lift, a good whole, fiber with the carb. What kind of snacks would you recommend for our athletes?
I've always been big on sugar. So limiting fruit, mostly lean towards vegetables, peppers, things like that. A good simple carb here and there. If you're really needing a snack, a packet of oatmeal would be great. One of my go-tos is baby food. I put down baby food. So good sweet potatoes and things like that, and it's smaller servings, and it's the perfect amount of like sugar and carbs that you need, and it's instant action. So if you're feeling a little bit sluggish, chances are your blood flow's a little bit low, so you need to bring your insulin up. Eat a little jar of baby food and you're golden, and you're not overindulging in that way. Use a tiny spoon, it makes it feel like it goes longer.
Absolutely. Hey, that's a good idea. I'll be honest, every time I go past that aisle, I haven't stopped down there, but next time I'm gonna go in there and take a look at the baby food sweet potatoes, and maybe add that to my stacking regimen.
Sweet potatoes and the apple cinnamon granola.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. And you brought up a really good point of getting a regimen in, and with it, that I think comes in obviously recovery, sleep, staying on a schedule also of what eventually we're going to get back to school. We're going to be back in, you're going to have that schedule set up. And what kind of message would you give the athletes? We talked about a little bit on recovery time with your home workouts. Some athletes, they're not pushing these big heavy weights. They might not think that they need certain types of recovery, what have you. What will be your message when it comes to recovery, sleeping, and making sure that we're ready for the next workout?
That's kind of a harder one, because that's a lot goes into that, because I know for my athletes especially, a lot of them feel like they don't have enough time. It's scheduling and things like that. So I'll start with, for me, I'm not telling everybody that you gotta be real hard on your sleep. Everybody still wake up like you did for school. Okay. They all know that during the school year, when we were training regularly and doing everything the way we were, I was waking up around 4 a.m. every single day. Right now, I am allowing myself to sleep in, right? But I'm still waking up every single day at 8 a.m. I'm not sleeping till 10 o'clock, 7 o'clock one day, 3 o'clock one day,
right.
Whatever. I'm still on a set schedule, but I am more relaxed. And you need to learn how to take part of your schedules. People think schedules too much as like, here's all the things I'm responsible for and I have to do. A schedule is a way of building the day that you want to have, right? And to get you where you're trying to go each and every single time. So it should include everything: your diet, your sleep, the things that you enjoy, whether it's watching a movie, stuff like that. That way you're not stressed for like 6 hours straight, just trying to cram everything in. And they're like, okay, well, now I get to work out. Well, I know we got reading projects to do, and people feel like they need to sit down and read, right? Well, there's no reason why you can't download an audiobook or sit there and read between your sets. That's what I used to do when I was in school. It allows you to knock two things out at once, to where you're not stretching your responsibilities across 6 hours, then trying to do the things you enjoy. Then you're like, well, now I really want to watch a movie because I've done all the things I was supposed to do. Not to say like movies are bad. I love movies, but it's finding the right balance of stuff. And I would think this is the perfect time to start finding how to do that stuff and get the right balance in your day, maintaining still an exact schedule. Like I need to be up at 8 o'clock every single day. I'm going to have this, this, and this. Here's things that can fit together, try to get it to work together and better manage your time. Doing everything with, this is where I want to be. This is where I want to be tomorrow. If I put this off, that means the other things I want to do tomorrow aren't going to happen. Or I might have to wake up earlier tomorrow because I put 3 things off today. Those are the things you avoid, because it just causes your day to degrade, causes your future to break down. So I would say right now, biggest thing, learn those habits.
Yeah, I think time management is huge, especially because I'm working from home for the first time in my career. As a teacher, I always did that. Now in the world of sales, it's a little bit different. So managing my time, and I know sitting at the same spot every day can be a little bit draining. So I'm a big person that I go by a 5x5 type of schedule. I get 5 things done in the morning. I wake up, I do my 5 things that I need to do for work, and then I cook my breakfast. That's like my reward. So then after that, I'll do 5 to 10 more things depending on what I need to get done. And then I go down and I hit the elliptical because, like I said, I'm battling a little bit of golfer's elbow in both my elbows right now. So lifting is out of the picture for me except for lower half and core. And then, after I get that done, I go and I do 5 more things, I go, eat my lunch, whatever that may be, those kinds of things. Coach King, what kind of schedule are you on right now that you seem this is working for you or not working for you?
Well, for me, I've tried to keep it, just like Coach Mauser was saying, when we were all in school, I'm like you. I'm usually up before 5 every single morning. Now I'm letting myself sleep in a little bit, but I'm seeing that I'm staying up a little bit later as well, just because we don't have all. I'm not going out and working every day. I'm working from home, just like Coach Oldham. So for me, it's all about still waking up at the set time in the morning, getting the workout in, making sure I'm still eating around the same certain amount of times. And I think that's going to be really big for a lot of our athletes when we come back, that our schedules aren't all messed up. So when we're getting ready and getting prepared to, compete again, that we're not going to see a leg and a lot of people being tired because now all of a sudden they're used to staying up late. When you can't do it anymore, you got to be at school early in the morning. So that's kind of what I've been trying to do, because eventually I know I'm going to have to be up again before 5, get my work done, and then hopefully have a chance to work out or what have you. But trying to keep the routine like that has really worked out.
Now, I kind of want to ask both of you this real quick. Do you think our athletes need to find a particular time? I'm a midday workout guy. I know my schedule. The best time for me to lift is between noon to about 3 o'clock. Was always the best time for me. Now, do you think that our athletes need to figure that out for themselves? Or would you recommend them still staying on a certain time schedule, because we know that lifting will start at a certain time when you go back to school?
I mean, for me, I would say it's always good to kind of keep working out, I guess, what works for you at this time. I'm usually someone, find the workout split that works the best for you and the time that works the best for you. For me, I love working out early in the morning. Sometimes I can't with work and I have to do it in the evening. Our athletes are so used to going to school every day and then going straight to workout after that, kind of in the evenings, which when we get back into it, that's what we're going to be thrown into. So I think the more they can get used to it, great. But they might have a lot of things going on right now too, where the flexibility they have to get a workout in the morning could work out really well, especially if they're on a 2-a-day workout schedule, which, hopefully it gets back to the point where we can go to, camps and all that, where they might be working out all day and they can get used to doing some work in the morning.
And so I agree with Coach King on that it kind of needs to be what they feel is appropriate right now, what they can really handle with their schedule. But I would like to throw out the idea. One of the things that I love doing, especially when I know I'm going to have more limited time, is I do 2 a day training the same thing. So I cut a shorter workout in the morning, and I usually hit more complex motions. So if, let's say chest, I just hit 3 types of bench press. Okay. Then at night, I go back in, I hit all the isolations on chest lighter, because like I said about recruiting things, trying to get more tear, that short period of allowing some lactic acid to get in, getting a little bit of soreness, then hitting it I tell my athletes about feeder workouts, doing it in the morning, but when you do it in the same day, it makes it incredibly sore. You tear so much more muscle down. So in terms of building muscle, that's a great way to do it when you have very limited resources, is you're just going ahead and hit it half of a workout in the morning, half of it at night. You're not going to get a decimating workout with limited supplies right now anyway. So it's a good way to go. But again, you should really just think about your schedule and trying to get it in when you can.
Coach Mauser, following up on that, how much time would you recommend that, you leave in between those 2 workouts per day?
I usually do exactly 12 hours, but I don't come back I always make sure I have at least 3 meals in me, if I'm being honest.
Gotcha.
So as long as I've had 3 meals, then I feel like it's an appropriate time to go back in and do it again, because I have enough nutrients. I've recovered a little bit. I've then had just a normal meal to keep my body balanced. My mind's recovered, and I have 1 meal in to feed for the new workout.
Makes sense. Completely makes sense. Hey, I want to kind of finish up with the last thing of, what message do you want to get out to your athletes and anybody you're training right now? What do you want them to know as we approach, possibly we're going to get back to normal soon. So what are the things that you want them to focus on as we head back to normalcy?
Go ahead, Coach Mauser.
I got it. Kind of what Coach King has said a little bit ago, about not making the transition back so drastic. Please, if you guys are going to stay up later and you are going to sleep in, try to make it as marginal as possible, like as small a margin as possible. That way we're not adjusting hard when we get back. I want to be able to hit the ground running. My message to them is I didn't even realize I liked all of you guys this much. I miss everybody. So, when we get back, I would really like to have a good time and not everybody be injured and sluggish and sad because we're not sleeping in all day long. Like, let's get in there with a good attitude and be able to adjust as small as possible. That would mean a lot to me.
Absolutely. I definitely second that. And, I brought this up, Coach O. I think it was the first time we did this. I heard there are NBA executives that were literally worried about starting a season because there are some NBA players that haven't been playing basketball or haven't been prepared. And we're talking about professional athletes. We need to be prepared to get ready and go right into a season. We don't know how short preseason is going to be, how short camp's going to be, and when hopefully a competitive season starts. So like you said, make sure you're ready when it comes. Make sure you're out there doing something. But I will definitely miss all the athletes so much, and can't wait to get back in there and start tearing it up and get ready for the competitive season start.
Yeah, I mean, I can't, like I said, we left our porch light on last night because that was what was kind of told for us as far as, recognizing the seniors. I know a lot of places have been leaving their football stadium lights on to recognize the athletes. I am going crazy. I can't wait to get back out there and get after it with you guys. But ultimately, like I said, I kept saying it the first podcast, there will come a time where this is going to get back to normal. We're getting closer to that. Obviously, it's not going to be like a flipping a light switch. But when we do get that opportunity, I want to make sure that we hit the ground running at every location that we're at. So ultimately, just keep doing what you guys are doing, things like that. For me, that's kind of it, guys. I enjoyed talking to you. It was great to talk the things that we love the most. And hopefully, Coach Mauser will get you back on another episode here soon.
Sounds good.
All right, guys, rest up, and then we will record another episode coming soon.
Awesome. Take it easy, fellas.
Take care.
Guys.